I'm here to tell you how the last year and 8 months has been with the Lumix S5IIX. So when I found this camera, I was coming from two different cameras at once. And let me explain that to you. Hold on, we'll get there. I had started a YouTube channel and I decided I wanted a camera because the first thing I had was my phone and it didn't work. It worked okay, but people would call and text and stuff while I was trying to shoot footage and it made it really hard. And that's a huge downside to using your phone for YouTube. So I decided to get a camera. The first camera I got was one of those ZV cameras from Sony. It had a fixed lens on it. It was a zoom lens, but you couldn't take it off. So I can't remember which one it is. I don't even want to say because I just remember it was a ZV camera. It was okay, but really it wasn't that great. And I started thinking, if I'm gonna have a camera, an actual camera, let's get a camera look out of it. And of course, I've never used a camera before in my life. Never, other than like a Polaroid or something, or the one on my phone. So I researched some cameras and my friends, I had a couple of friends who were photographers, all told me to get a Sony. They said, get a Sony, don't even play, just get the Sony, it works. And this was back in 2023. I didn't listen. When I started researching, I found some Sonys and they were really expensive. Like a A7 III was like $2,000 or something. But I had found a Fuji for quite a bit cheaper, and it was an X-T4. It had 10-bit color, and that was one of the things I wanted. I didn't even know the difference between APC and full frame. I didn't know anything. So I just knew that that one was more modern, and I wanted something more modern, so I bought it. And actually, I did like the camera. I don't think I did bad. It had some great film simulations, and the picture was good. It was easy to use. It just failed in one place, and that was video. It did not do good video because the autofocus was trash. It was garbage. It just wasn't good. So after realizing that there was nothing I could do to fix the autofocus, I bought different lenses. I tried to update it. I did all kinds of things. There was nothing I could do to fix that. And since my main goal was video, it just wouldn't work. I decided at that point to take my friend's advice and go get a Sony, which I did. I bought an A6400, brand new. Somewhere I had read that the A7 III and the A6400 kind of had the same processors or something in them, or a YouTube video told me that. I don't even know if it's true, but that's what made me go buy it. So I get that camera and it's everything the X-T4 wasn't, but it also wasn't everything the X-T4 was, if that makes sense. Like, it didn't have any film simulations. It just felt real robotic and almost looked about like my phone. It got the job done for sure, but I just wasn't getting that look that I was looking for. So after a few months of trying to figure that camera out and realizing that, changing the lens and a bunch of other stuff really just wasn't going to make it work, I went and started looking for an A7 IV or an A7S III. It was at the end of the chip shortage too. So some of these cameras just were hard to find. The A7S III was impossible to find. There were some A7 IVs, but they were really expensive. And I was just a little bit short on the money. So I kept trying to find maybe a used one, and it was just a little too new to really find that much on the used market. But when I was looking one day on Amazon, an ad for the S5IIX popped up. And I was completely against it at first. I did not want anything to do with the Lumix. I had heard that the autofocus was not good, and I was just coming from that. Plus, I had it in my mind that they were budget cameras. Like, nobody serious shoots with these cameras, with Lumix cameras. That's what I had heard. And I kind of had the same thought about like Blackmagic design too at the same time. Like those two companies just were not. And it's not anything I read or anything. It's just little bits and pieces that maybe I'd heard and I kind of put together in my subconscious. But I kept seeing the ad, and finally I said, you know what? The camera's the right price, so let me look at it. Let me at least look at it. And when I started to look at it, I was like, wow, this actually does everything I want it to do. So I investigated the autofocus, and everything had said they had fixed the autofocus, that it was good now. It was as good as Sony. It was a lot of what I had read. So, all right, with the Lumix, I could order the body and get a couple of lenses. With the Sony, I was going to be lucky if I could even get the body. So I took the plunge and I got the Lumix, and that was 1 year and 8 months ago. I bought this camera, and for 1 year and 8 months, every day, I have learned something new about photography or videography. I have eat, slept, and shit photography since then, and really videography. Photography is kind of a byproduct of it. So, I had to shoot thumbnails. I'm not doing professional work. This was not for that. It was only for YouTube. And a lot of people would say that something like this was overkill, but I had noticed that all the channels that were big, like MKBHD, Linus Tech Tips, of course, all the camera channels, all shot with real full-fledged cameras. So I was determined I was going to get one. It never occurred to me either that I was going to have to learn how to do something. You know, I just thought that I would point the camera and it would shoot. I've learned that with the Fuji, that I was actually going to have to learn some stuff that was hard to learn. When I got the Lumix, I didn't even understand exposure yet, you know, so I was still super young. But after owning this, I have to say that I learned so much. You know, there's always more to learn, but, you know, there's things I understand now that I definitely didn't then. And it's all by owning this camera. First thing, of course, is exposure. I learned that. Then I started learning the difference between the focal lengths and things like that, and just camera behaviors and theory and stuff like that. A lot of it from YouTube, from you guys, from watching Tony and Chelsea Northrup, from watching Gerald Undone, from watching Brett Thompson, from watching, man, I'm going to forget somebody now that I'm starting naming people. I don't know, who knows if they'll even see it. Matthew Dangu was another guy that I watched. Camera Conspiracies, watch that channel a lot. Goodness, you know, I don't want to get to naming people, but there's Mark Bennett, you know, all of them. All the ones you guys watch, I watch too. And between those and just clicking on different things on the camera, looking up stuff online, getting on Reddit, getting on Facebook, getting on other places, and actually getting out and shooting with the camera, I learned how to use this camera, surprisingly, really, because, you know, a lot of people have to be taught that stuff. But I don't know if you know, some of that is on, you know, it's me, you know, I learned it, you know, I had the determination to learn it, but I don't think that I would have done it if it wasn't for this camera, because it motivated me to do it, because I love the way that it works. I love the image it puts out. It's easy to work with, but, you know, I thought that I would just tell you what my experience has been with the camera, and it's been good. It's been really good. It's taught me to do things that I didn't think I could do. It's taken care of me. That may sound crazy, but it has. It's taken care of me because it's helped me get the memories of my family, all right? My daughter, she's 4. My littlest daughter, she's 4. She's growing up. This thing has helped me document that in ways that are going to be here forever, and they're going to look good forever. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't have cameras. They were too expensive. Not only were they too expensive, they were rare. It was rare for a normal person to have a camera like that, you know, where you could take professional pictures that looked good. And she's going to have that her whole life. You know, she's going to be able to look and see herself as a kid. I was able to take pictures of my pets, my neighbors, the people in the neighborhood. I got my first real job, first paying job with this camera. I shot my first viral video with this camera. I got 210,000 views on a video on my other channel with this camera. And I shot a couple of other ones that got, you know, several thousands of views with this camera. And it's been the backbone to my YouTube business ever since. And I can't say it's really ever failed me. It does have some quirks, you know, and we'll talk about those. But for the most part, it's nothing I couldn't deal with, even in 2025. So it came out in 2023, and I was right, you know, behind getting it when it came out. You know, it was just a little bit in 2024 when I got it. So I just got it in February of 2024, and it had just come out in late 2023. And it, you know, I've taken it everywhere with me, and I've done everything. I've gone to the park, you know, I've done street photography and videography. I've taken my kid to the park and videoed her. When I've got another daughter who is grown, or was grown, and she got sick last year, and she didn't make it. And, you know, I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know that anything was going to happen. So, you know, when I have to go up to see her, because she lived in another city, and I have to go up and see her, and I took this camera with me, you know, and she knew she was really sick, and she asked me to take pictures of her with this camera. So the last pictures of her were taken with this camera. And, you know, the pictures of those trips, and it's hard to look at, to go back and look at those. But I'm sorry. It's hard to go back and look at those, but it makes me very happy to know I have them. You know what I mean? It makes me happy to know that I have them, and that, you know, I have something to even though it's hard, but something to document that time period from. And it makes me even more happy that I can take pictures of my family and stuff like that. Now, you don't need a camera like this to take pictures of your family. I mean, iPhones and stuff are good enough for that now, but I just feel like this one has come through for me in that special kind of way. It doesn't, you know, it didn't let me down, and it was there for me. And it gave me the want and will to to do those things. Does it shoot 4K 120? No, it doesn't. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to upgrade. It has some lag out of the HDMI port. And it's never stopped me from shooting anything though, but it is there, and sometimes it's noticeable. What else? This little button right here is easy to bump, but you know, I know that I need to check it. I'll tell you one of the most annoying things about it is it doesn't have tally lights. And you'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be, if you're watching this channel, how that can mess you up. I've actually filmed this a couple of times already, and not exactly the same, obviously. I didn't really talk about, just not the same. But you know, when I got up, the camera had cut off both times. It had cut off. So I switched it out for the S1 II because I can see the red light. I can see that it's recording. And of all the things that this thing may have wrong with it, that's the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing, because some things you just can't catch again. And when you're a content creator and you're filming yourself, it's hard to come back, you know, and re-record something and catch that same magic. When you're behind the camera, this one is perfect. The viewfinder is great. The screen is great. I do wish that it would articulate the way the S1 II does, where you could turn it and flip it up, you know, the other way, but it does like most cameras and just flips around to the side, and it's a good screen. It's bright and responsive. The menus, I've heard people say they were hard. I thought they were easy, honestly, but I was coming from that A6400, which its menus were terrible. It's not too heavy. You know, the body's a good size. The grip is amazing. I 3D printed this Oreo cookie thing for it. And there's lots of things online that you can 3D print if you want. The autofocus, that's a big thing for a lot of people. A lot of people will get on here and say, well, the autofocus isn't as good as Sony. And they're probably right. I mean, Sony is really good at autofocus. But, you know, when I tell you right now that it's not as good as Sony, what I mean is like Sony's 98% and this is 95%. Like it's that close. It is really close. You know, it's really close. It's just Sony does it just a little bit better. This is totally usable and easy to work with. You know, I can't promise you every situation or whatever that it's going to work in, or any camera is going to work in every situation, but this one works. You know, the autofocus isn't anything I'd be worried about. It's an amazing camera who's really made a difference in my life. It's taught me photography. It's taught me videography. It's allowed me to have a second career in a later part of my life. You know, I'm almost 50 and it's given me another opportunity. It's helped me document my daughter growing up, and it's helped me document, you know, what happened with my other daughter. It's hard to talk about, but, you know, I wanted to tell you about just everywhere this camera has been with me. And it's an amazing piece of technology. And I really thank Lumix for making it. And I'm not affiliated with them in any kind of way. You know, they don't pay me to make videos for them or do anything for them. Maybe one day they will, but today isn't that day. I just really like this camera, and I like it so much that I bought two more. I bought the S1 II and the S9, and I like both of those cameras. That's another thing. It records to SSD, and this is the first camera I've ever had that did that. This is the first camera I ever had that recorded to SSD, and it's amazing. It's an amazing workflow. You just plug it in, shoot what you want to shoot, and you can even shoot ProRes with it. You plug it into your computer, and you can edit it right off the SSD. You never even have to transfer it. The S9 works on SD cards. Like you have to have V90 cards, and those are very expensive, and it's still not the best workflow. Like I don't like it. I would much prefer the SSD, but you don't have that option with that camera. I wouldn't use that camera for my main shooter either, though, so that should tell you something. I've enjoyed my time with this camera. I honestly could go longer, and as I talk about it, I'm really thinking about trying to figure out a way to keep it. So you can have that kind of time too with it. I think they're on sale right now. They usually are. I know when I bought it, I got a free lens, and it was a killer deal. Plus I got a free lens, plus I got the kit lens. And I know it's on sale right now where you get a couple of lenses and some money off. So if you're interested in this camera, man, I would say just go for it. It made a huge difference in my life. I mean, it really has become a part of me and has taught me things that I didn't think I'd ever learn. So that's it. That's all I got to say. If you like this video, if it did anything for you, hit the like button. If you'd like to hear more from me, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, and there'll be an affiliate link in the description for this. Like I said, I'm not sponsored. I don't get paid from even YouTube yet, so that's the only way I have to make money. If you want to grab one of these, I'd appreciate it if you use the affiliate link. Thanks so much, and I'll see you tomorrow.